All right, this question is number 10 of 50 on the 2014 release Geometry SOL. And it says they're giving you 2 points, -1, 8, that's S, and point T is at 7, -9. They give you the graph of those 2 points and a line connecting them. And they say, what is the length of ST? So there are a couple of different ways we can approach this problem. One is we can use the distance formula. Now the distance formula is not given on the Geometry SOL. So you have to have that memorized, and that is D is equal to the square root of y2 minus y1 squared plus x2 minus x1 squared. Now if you've got that memorized and you love that, use that method. Make sure that you label your points here, x1, y1, x2, y2. Substitute in the formula and then go with it. However, most of my students don't want to memorize extra stuff they don't need to know. So you don't have to memorize this. In fact, what I tell most of my students is to use the equation of a circle. Now, if you go back and think about the equation of a circle, you have a circle, you've got a point on it, and they call that h comma k. Sorry, my handwriting's so hard to read, but listen to me, it's h comma k. This is our radius right here, r, and this is a point on the circle, x comma y. And then the equation of a circle is this. It's x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. Now notice the radius is a distance. The radius is the distance from the center of a circle to a point that's on the circle. So you're saying, why are you talking about all this circle stuff and the equation of circle? Isn't that just as confusing to memorize? Well, it's not, because you don't have to memorize it. The equation of a circle is on the formula sheet for the Geometry SOL. So if you just pick one of these 2 points over here, like S, and pretend like it's the center of a circle, and you pick the other point, T, and pretend like you got a big circle. I'm not going to be able to draw this by hand, but pretend like you've got a big circle going around here. Yeah, I'm horrible at drawing this by hand, especially on this computer thing. But S is the center of your circle, and T is a point on the circle. If you figure out R right here, that's the same thing as the distance between the 2 points. So this equation, whoops, sometimes on my Mac, if I go up to that right corner, it sends me the weather. But if you go up to this equation right here, it's on the formula sheet, and then pretend like one point's at the center, the other point's on the circle, and you can find, oh, my Mac is all messing up on me on this one, you can find the radius right there. That's the distance between S and T. So that's one way you can do it, and you can calculate it out like that. That's usually really helpful, especially if you're not given a graph, or you don't have graph paper to graph it out. So the other way is to actually use the graph given to you and make a triangle. So you could make a triangle like this. Go straight down from one point, and then straight over to the other point, and now you have a right triangle. And notice ST is the hypotenuse of that triangle. So here's a case, if you've got a right triangle and you know 2 sides of it, you can figure out the third side using the Pythagorean theorem. And that's what I'll do for this case. So we know that this location right here is at 8, this one's at -9, so you could count the blocks, or you could just say 8 minus a -9 gives you 17. So one side of the triangle is 17. And then over here, calculating this way, we've got, this is at -1 and this is at 7, so -1 minus a -7 is 8. And now it just becomes a basic right triangle Pythagorean theorem problem, where I know 8 squared plus 17 squared must equal the hypotenuse squared. So let's write that out. Eight squared plus 17 squared must equal, I'll just call this C because that's what we typically use. The Pythagorean theorem we call the hypotenuse C squared. So take a moment and try to find the value of C. Alright, so you should have that 8 squared is equal to 64. And then 17 squared is the same thing as 289. 64 and 289 give you 353. And remember, to get c by itself, the opposite of squaring is to square root. So we take the square root of both sides, and you get the square root of 353 is equal to c. And so that's our answer choice D down here. Okay. Once again, you could have used either one of these two equations up at the top, and you would have gotten the same answer. That's especially, you got to use one of these two if you don't have a graph or it's not easy to graph. Okay. So I hope those methods help you out, and keep studying hard.